we haven't got any patience at all as fans. I don't think well, not everyone. Not everyone, but there's certainly an element of Everton fans becoming less and less patient.
Yeah, I think it's the the frustration goes into overdrive, the desperation for signs of progress, I suppose. But I don't think you can say you've got to give the manager and the director of football time and then a couple of weeks later be moaning because stuff hasn't gone on. I think the pre-season results, I think I put a tweet out the other day, it's probably as a collective and a set of results one of the worst I can remember for a long time in terms of results, but that means nothing, you know. As we've said before, I remember us in 2010 winning every pre-season game, winning the Australian Cup, and we went to Blackburn on day one and got beat 1-0. Howard threw it in his net and things like that, so it doesn't really mean much results. So it's great if you sweep an all and sundry aside. The big thing is what it teaches your manager, I think, and what it highlights, and that's certainly what I'm taking out of it. But in terms of patience and signings and everything else, it's getting to a situation now where no one seems to be good enough, whoever we're linked with.
Yeah.
And Everton can drag this transfer out for weeks and they're a joke and this and that and the other. The transfer will only be as fast as the club's selling.
Yeah.
And if the selling club are dragging their heels, there's not really much Everton can do about it. Or if the players dragging the heels, there's not really much we can do about it. And it's frustrating because it gets out in the media. And then once someone sees the name and that story that day, they want it done the next day. I've seen people go on Digny's like the move's in doubt now. Or Digne, the move's in doubt now.
Digny.
Because
so uncouth.
He was supposed to sign on Monday night and he flew back from America on Sunday. He had to go to Spain. He was always coming for his medical on Tuesday.
Yeah.
You know, people were like panicking, like, doesn't want to be here, get rid of him. And you're like, the lad's in America, he's got to get home. You know, it's just things.
Well, he's got to get home. He's got to go. He went to Barcelona. He's got to get his stuff sorted in Barcelona because he might never go. Might go back to Barcelona now. You know, he might not go back. It's fun. There's a story in Zlatan's book, funny enough, and it says when he went from Ajax to Juventus, and he said he got the phone call that night. Right, you're going to Juventus, which he'd been trying to get the move, and he said, I just got up in my house and walked out, and then I've never been back to that house. He said, I just left all my stuff and just went. I just went. And just started again. That was it. That life was finished. And this new life was beginning, and that was it. He never went back. So, but it's a very complex issue because I think one of the parts of it is right, and I think this is where other clubs are better than that. And I think they're only better than that because I think they've had more practice and because maybe they get things done in a different way to us, or there's more power. Other clubs seem to be able to, or some other clubs seem to be able to keep transfers very, very quiet till literally the last minute.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you hear clubs going, oh, so and so have been linked with this player, and the next day there's a picture of them signing, and you're like, whoa, because when you first hear linked, because you're an Everton fan, you think, well, there's going to be that bit, that bit, that bit, and that bit, and it all seems to take time with us. But what we don't appreciate is because if you miss out all those first steps because you haven't heard about it, then you only get that final step. Whereas every Everton transfer seems to go through all the steps publicly.
Yeah,
and I think that's half the problem. So Richarlison last week, for instance, he comes in, right? Now, I remember, who was it? I remember when Lukaku signed, right? And I remember I was standing outside the gates of Finch Farm.
He went,
yeah. We knew for a fact that it was all done because players came out, ex-players came out, and they all said, "Yeah, I've done a little bit for Everton TV." Talking about Lukaku, players like Jack Gilcher, "Yeah, I've done a little bit for this, I've done for that." What people don't, sometimes you can get a player sign the seal, but you've got to do all that stupid stuff, like all the pictures, all the photos. There was a video last week of them doing Richarlison where it's all picked, and all that is part of the process. There's a thing at Everton on the wall,
yeah,
that shows the player, what what stances and stuff they'll need to do for the pitches. So say they come in, they're not great English speakers, they'll go, we're going to do that, 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 we're going to do that. You know, and all that has to be done. It's all part of the process. There's paperwork, as you just said. The opposition, you might sign it all off and you might send the paperwork off to the team you just signed the player, and they just might be like, secretary's somewhere or other, I can't get hold of him and he needs to sign this piece of paper, this release form. Yeah. All these things all play a part.
Like last week with the Richarlison thing, that's what everyone was like, God, us dragging it out, what a joke. That was all done first thing Wednesday morning. Everton's end was finished. They were waiting for Watford to sign something off, and if you've got a little bit of beef with the club like we have with Watford, you can take their time. Chelsea did it with Lukaku. Everton, remember the thing went live 2 hours later because Chelsea was just like, yeah, we'll sign it when we get to it. And you can't then go, he signed, it's all done, when the forms aren't through, because they go, we hold his registration. The registration is the last thing you release for the player. If they hold the registration, you ain't signing the player. You could have the player done and dusted, and unless till that registration paper's signed off, the last one, he's not yours.
There might be might be a delay in your PayPal payments or something, and
well, there's often disputes over. The other thing as well that pops up a lot is agents' payments off the club who's selling, and the agent won't sign it off either until he knows he's getting his thing. So I think some transfers, like Funes Mori, for argument's sake, that was going on for a few days. Everton kept that really quiet, as Villarreal did. But Everton wanted to sell him. They were happy for him to go, so there was no delay. Everton done everything as quick as they could, and the minute Villarreal had tied their bit up, it was out. Right? If you're buying players off a club who don't necessarily want that player to go, it takes time. It takes time to agree the fee. It takes time to agree terms with the player. If the player is unsure about moving, it takes time. I know we'll come on to that aspect of it in a minute, but if the player's unsure or anything like that, it's gonna drag. If you got 2 people who are willing to, it'll go as quickly as it can. So you'll go, we want him, we've got him, great, done and dusted. It's difficult to keep a lot out the media nowadays because fans are desperate for any kind of news. Clubs want to show the fans that they're doing stuff, so they leak it to Paul Joyce or Dom King because they're trying to communicate with the fans. Go, look, we are trying to do deals.
But not only that,
and agents.
Not only that, though, clubs will try and change an agenda. If there's an agenda out there at a certain point, Everton have just come off the back of 2 pre-season losses. Fans